Major League Baseball is entering its final weekend as multiple playoff spots remain up for grabs. Here's a look at how the postseason could stack up if the season ended before the weekend. The Blue Jays and Astros would claim the final American League playoff spots, while the Diamondbacks and Marlins would secure the final spots in the National League. Joining us now to talk about the final weekend is Matt Snyder. He's a baseball writer for CBS Sports. Matt, thanks for joining us. The final two National League wildcard spots are still in play, so how do you think they will advance to the postseason?
Well, the Diamondbacks are right on the precipice. They only need to win one or have the Cubs lose one game, so they're surely going to make it. I do not see a collapse coming from them. The last spot, I think I'm going to say the Marlins stick in there. They have the tiebreaker over the Cubs, and they're basically ahead of them by a game. So you would need to see a scenario where like the Cubs swept the Brewers and the Marlins only won one of three against an inferior Pirates team this weekend in order for the Cubs this weekend. They're over the Marlins. So I really think the Marlins are going to get the job done there. So really, the way that graphic was just shown, that's about pretty much how I think it's going to be.
Oh, good. I'm glad to know that we're kind of on the money there. In the American League, who will claim the final wild card spot?
This one is very complicated. There are three teams still alive who could win the AL West division, and also the Blue Jays are in the mix for the wild card along with those three AL West teams. So there's a lot of machinations there. And the Rangers and Mariners are playing each other. The Astros are actually playing the Diamondbacks, who I mentioned are in the wild card race on the National League side. So there's a lot of stuff that could be going on there. I think I'll stay with how it is right now, which is the Rangers taking the American League West, the Astros taking a wild card along with the Blue Jays taking a wild card, which leaves the Mariners on the outside looking in. But hey, anything could happen there because the Mariners are playing the Rangers, and they just came back in the ninth inning to beat the Rangers last night and keep themselves alive.
Okay, so let's move on to MVP. Who are your picks for AL and NL?
National League, I'm going to say Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves. Nobody in baseball history had ever had a season with 30 home runs and 60 stolen bases until now, and he's actually gotten to 40 home runs and 70 stolen bases. Braves are the best team in baseball. He's been their best player all year. He stormed out of the gates. He was amazing right from the get-go. So I think it's Ronald Acuna Jr. there. On the American League side, Shohei Ohtani of the Angels. Still, I know a lot of people might have gotten numb to it this year, but he's one of the best sluggers in baseball, and he's a starting pitcher. Nobody else does anything like that. I know he doesn't play for a contender, and that's what a lot of the naysayers say, hey, he has to play for a contender, but there aren't really any viable candidates on the American League side to challenge him. If he had a situation like Acuna does, where Mookie Betts is right on Acuna's heels, or Freddie Freeman or Matt Olson on the National League side are really close to Ronald Acuna Jr., maybe you could go with somebody else. But on the American League side with Ohtani, there aren't really any strong challengers. So I think Ohtani is going to bring it home for his second MVP in the last 3 years.
Okay, so maybe it feels like we're getting ahead of ourselves, but let's talk about the World Series. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, but it's
Okay, a
still
little.
fun to talk about it.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. We haven't seen, other than 2020, which was an outlier year in many aspects, obviously, we haven't seen the two best teams make the World Series since 2013, when it was the Red Sox and the Cardinals, who each won 97 games. I think we're going to break that streak this year, and we're going to see the two best teams get there, which would be the Baltimore Orioles on the American League side for the first time in the World Series in a long, long, long time, in generations. And then on the National League side, I already talked about Ronald Acuna Jr., how I think he's going to win MVP. I will go with the Atlanta Braves on the National League side. So Braves-Orioles World Series, that would be pretty fun, and I think that's what we're going to see.
Matt Schneider, that was quite a baseball data dump. Thank you. I'm still taking it all in. Thank you.